So hi. In the previous unit, we spoke about innovation. In this unit, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. And we'll start with a few definitions. So the first one would be that entrepreneurship is the action of mobilizing resources to launch ventures whose products or services meet the needs of the market or of society. The second definition would be that entrepreneurship is the capacity and willingness to develop, organize, and manage a venture along with any of its risks in order to either make a profit or to improve the world. The third definition is that entrepreneurship is applying innovation to bring ideas to life and to propel them forward. So now the question for us is innovation and entrepreneurship the same thing? Well, we believe that there is one key difference. Innovation is first and foremost about creating something new, whereas entrepreneurship is first and foremost about turning an idea into a venture. When we're thinking about innovation, we're always thinking about something new. When we think about entrepreneurship, we're thinking about how to implement something concrete in the world. It can be something new, a new idea, a new solution for something, and turning that into a venture. But entrepreneurship doesn't have to rely on innovation. It could also be about how I take an existing idea and turn that into a viable venture. For example, taking and creating a McDonald's brand franchise would be entrepreneurship, but it would not be innovative. So, is all entrepreneurship the same? Is creating a company that builds electric vehicles the same as opening up a shoe shine stand in a train station or opening a social venture to help people reach their dreams? The answer is yes and no. So in all these cases, they are all forms of entrepreneurship as we've defined them earlier. In all cases, somebody or a group of people took an idea, turned it into something concrete, and in doing so, they had to mobilize resources, either their time, money, or other people. They had to develop and then to launch a product or a service that meets the needs of their potential clients. In this sense, there is no difference between a shoeshine stand, a Tesla factory, a design agency, or an organization that helps people deal with social or personal problems. What differences do exist between them? Let's talk about motivation for a second. Why is a venture created? A business venture is motivated first and foremost by creating financial profit. A social venture, on the other hand, is motivated first and foremost by creating positive social impact. The shoeshine stand, the Tesla factory, the gift store, the design agency are all examples of business ventures. The fact that they are motivated by financial profit, though, does not mean that they cannot also strive to create positive social impact. They can, but only as a secondary motivation. For example, one of Tesla's missions is to lower the carbon footprint of transportation by using electric vehicles. On the other hand, organizations like Make-A-Wish, Alcoholics Anonymous, Greenpeace, Variety, TeamRehab.org, and many others are organizations that were created in order to help people in need and to create positive social impact. Now I'd like to talk about resources. Both business and social ventures need to gather the needed resources to operate and survive. Later on, we'll look at the different ways to do this when we talk about possible business models. But let's look for a few more concepts that are important in understanding entrepreneurship. The first one is opportunity recognition versus risk. So what is opportunity? The dictionary definition of opportunity is a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. In our context, this would be something like a favorable set of circumstances that creates the need for a new product, a service, or a business idea. An opportunity has four qualities. A, it should be attractive, meaning that it offers something attractive, not just aesthetically, but also creates excitement or demand or is in the right place at the right time. The other one is that it creates value. It offers a product, service, or business that creates or adds value for its buyer or the user. The third one is that it is durable. This means that it offers something that is more durable as a business, meaning that it would be scalable or maybe can penetrate multiple markets. And the fourth one is that it is timely. It offers something at the right time and at the right place, and that the market is ready for it. So how do we identify opportunity? Observing trends, solving a problem, or finding a gap in the marketplace. We'll get back to this later in the course. We now have some ideas about how to identify opportunity, and now all we have to do is to mobilize some resources and create our venture. Is that correct? Unfortunately, there is the opposite side of the coin that we must also consider, and that is risk. Risk and opportunity are two sides of the same coin. What do we mean by risk? There are a number of definitions for this. One is it is exposure to the possibility of loss or of danger. Another in our world would be that risk is the possibility that the actual outcomes of the resources that we have mobilized will be less than expected. Risk also includes the possibility of losing some or all of the original investment that we have made in time, money, material. There is risk in anything we do, from getting up in the morning, eating, taking the train to work, to school, to play. But very early on in life, we have learned that in the large majority of cases, the risk of food poisoning, for example, with a few precautions, is much smaller than the opportunities enabled by actually eating. For example, staying alive, growing, developing. We call this reward. When opportunity is larger than risk, there is the potential for reward. When someone opens up a shoe shine stand, they take on risk. When someone opens up a social organization, they take on risk. When Elon Musk and partners created Tesla, they took on enormous risk. But in all of these cases, they worked with the assumption that the reward will be larger than the risk. So when opportunity is larger than risk, there is a potential reward. In the case of the shoe shine stall, their expectation is that the reward will be large enough to enable the owner to make an honest living without any expectations to become rich. In the case of a social organization, the expectation is that the reward will enable them to help more people, to bring about positive change for them and for their communities, while also being able to grow the team and help more people. And in Tesla's case, the expectation is that the reward will be vastly larger than the risk. And by vastly, we mean tens or hundreds or even thousands of times the value of the original resource mobilized. Let's talk about resources that are needed to be mobilized. There are a few of them. First of all is the human one. It would be me, my partners, later on more people that we bring on board. The second one would be financial. You might take on a loan, either from yourself, from family, from friends, later on from a bank, maybe some grants, or from investors. Some are legal. Licenses, taxes, intellectual property, patents, trade secrets, know-how, copyrights, and trademarks. And some are physical. You need somewhere to go, an office or a lab. You need equipment, computers, machines, vehicles, etc. The amount and the type and the mix of the resources will depend on the type of venture that you are pursuing. Let's now talk about the process of launching a venture, what we like to call from me to us, or the team. You may have heard the phrase startups, and this is the name from an early type of venture that is starting up and trying to find a way to grow in the world. We will talk about this in the next few chapters, but for now, suffice it to say that you will start small, you and one or two partners, which you will be called founders, and you will spend your initial time finding a viable opportunity and then mobilizing the needed resources to create a product or service that acts on that opportunity. Once you've identified the opportunity and gathered your founding team, you will then work to create a product that will offer a solution to the needs of your potential market. And the most important point at this stage of the game is that you must talk with your potential clients to understand their needs. And we'll spend a lot of time on this in the course. Another concept that is important to know is the offering. The shoe shine stall offers to solve the problem of showing up with scruffy shoes to an important meeting. The social organization offers to solve problems that people or communities have. Tesla offers cars that are desirable while also potentially helping in the war against global warming. In this video, we have spoken about the definition of entrepreneurship. We then looked at different types of entrepreneurship, specifically the differences and similarities between business and social entrepreneurship. We then looked at the concepts of opportunity and risk, specifically about how we can identify opportunity and the types of risk we take on when trying to exploit the opportunity. We ended the video by briefly speaking about the types of resources we will need to mobilize: human, financial, legal, and physical.